Hello and welcome. My name is Sabine Metzner, and this is a very special time with Maribel Jimenez, your dream launch mentor and my wonderful dream client. Why don't we go straight ahead and take a look at where were you in your life and business when we started out working together?
Yes, absolutely. Love to share. So where I was, many months ago before we started our work together felt a lot of confusion. I felt a little bit scattered just because as an entrepreneur, I had many ideas. I wanted to serve in many different ways. And so what I had done is created several brands. Just in that desire to serve very uniquely. But what I knew was that it wasn't serving me to have these three brands. Not only was I working really, really hard to keep them moving, but I was also working double hard because people didn't know how to refer me. And it wasn't quite clear how exactly I served and what I was doing with people, even though they were having successes. And so, of course, it wasn't even clear for me because I had these different communities. And so I communicated my message differently to each community. I'll share just a couple of big ahas that happened for me, because part of the branding, of course, as I mentioned, there's credibility that happens. It's like when you go out as your best self, do people you elevate yourself in a new way? Well, that's what happens online when your brand is at its best. You're being elevated, there's credibility that's happening, there's a connection happening, and people feel like they know or like or trust you based on what they see, right? It's a big credibility piece. And when you do that and you know that you're being represented in your best way, do you not elevate and feel that? It's like you own your power, you have clarity of this is who I'm here to serve, and it's like putting this stake in the ground that happens. So all of this happens throughout and I didn't have that clear of concept around branding before that. I just wanted just give me my brand and let me run with it. But yet when you took me through a process that had me very grounded and honoring of what I was here to do, it's like now my website is like living me online. And so it's very, very powerful. And as you said, a lot of things already happened because I was creating that new connection of stepping into who I was that allowed people to come from a new place that people wanted some of that. Does that make sense? People were like, I have to work with you.
Exactly.
I want that.
And there's no one else. Yeah, there's no one else like you.
Yeah. And exactly. It's like your fingerprint. So it's not, cookie cutter, put it together, slap it together kind of thing. So there's a lot of things that happen when you really take the time and honor the process to really have, just like the name of your brand, a soul purpose driven brand.
Well, and then also maybe you can speak a little bit about this particular, brand name that we came up with, because I think it's in itself such a valuable position for yourself. Because I think that, in 40 years from now, people don't necessarily think about that long of a time span ahead, but my intention really is to position a person, an expert for life, in their soul's purpose. So just in closing, maybe a couple words about the brand name and why it's so much grander than if we would have rushed ahead and just produced a pretty logo.
Right. Well, what it did was it really got to the heart of what I was how I wanted to serve. And so how I was serving people was some different ways around launching, which, I didn't know how to bridge that together. So what was the real thing behind that was, for me, it was not only important that you launch, but that you were launching the dream. What was really in your heart, and how did you want to incorporate this launch that really had your essence in it, that had what your vision was? What was your dream of creating? Because I had done that in my own business. This was my dream business online. And so I wanted to kind of bridge the piece around serving entrepreneurs and really fulfilling their dream. And secondly, how do you do that in your business? But by really incorporating your dream into the launches, and getting a launch is just getting out there in a big way, right? It's connecting to everybody who needs you in a short period of time. it's getting out there. And so that was the two things I was bringing together, was the dream and launching it. And in that, creating lots of prosperity, lots of fun, all of my own values being bridged together, which also comes through in the way that it was presented physically. The brand itself, the look and feel, was important as well, because that's who my essence was. So it all got brought together in a very beautiful way that is my fingerprint now, and it's very clear, whether you're in alignment with that or not. I also, Sabine, want to take a moment to thank you and recommend you to those that are listening to this case study, because the truth is, what I've found is, there's two things that I look for when I decide to invest. And I know investing itself is a big part of what's expanded me, right? Really being able to send out there what I'm wanting to receive, and in the investment, really just picking the top-notch people in my life to help me elevate my own business. So there's two things, I really looked for, and I found that in you, and I want to share that with other people. Number one is that, I always look for someone who's many steps ahead of me, that's really, I can see in the quality of their work, that they are who they say. I mean, you had beautiful work, as I mentioned early in the call. So that was the first thing, just knowing that you really were who you said you were. You walk your talk. You have all of this to show for it, because you've created some really amazing, beautiful brands. And then the second connection was to get on the phone and really understand if we connected, and I really follow my intuition, which of course had me so aligned with your message of soul purpose branding, because I wanted to get to the core of who I was here to be. So I was ready and willing to go deep. You started to do that with me on the call already. So I felt great alignment with your process, and that it was perfect for me, because I was interested in something that was lasting and not just simple and get it done quickly. I was really interested in something that was going to last and that was going to incorporate my true being. And so of course you were able to do that. And so that's the second thing, is that you have that connection, and intuitively that you feel that right away. And I say, when you feel that, you should take inspired action and move forward. So that's what we did together. Beautiful things happened from that place, and I highly recommend your work to anyone that is looking for that.
You are an inspiration to me, Maribel. So may your dream unfold magnificently, and may you touch countless lives and help them really launch their dream and take off. And you're such a wonderful role model. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabine.